Now, we've done a video of the biggest games coming in 2016 that people are going to be looking forward to, but we also thought it'd be worth highlighting some of the smaller games that don't tend to get attention when it comes to these kind of things.
Things like Call of Duty.
Things like Call of Duty, FIFA, these titles that generally fall by the wayside. So we're going to put together this list of alternative games for 2016. The first one from you, unsurprisingly, is a Monster Hunter game.
Hello, I'm Luke and I still love Monster Hunter. Yeah, Monster Hunter Cross is only confirmed for Japan at the moment, but it should be coming to 3DS hopefully later in the year. I don't really want to have to import it, but I will if Nintendo makes me. I'll also have to buy another Nintendo platform because every time I buy a Monster Hunter game I have to buy a new Nintendo console.
Sure.
Just for fun. Well, it's happened 4 times now. Why break the habit of a lifetime? Cross looks to be a much more action-based kind of twist, which seems daft from like a game like Monster Hunter, but more sort of in line with character action games like Bayonetta, and like much more focus on showboating, on flashy skills and stuff, rather than the usual kind of patient sword and board stuff. Yeah, it's looking superb. Like, I can't wait to play it.
Cool. Now, when I found out there was a game inspired by Philip K. Dick and it started using words like simulacrum, my pretentious...
Like what?
Simulacrum.
That's not a thing. What is it?
It comes from Jean Baudrillard. It set my...
What's going on?
You know I love this type of thing.
I know.
Hipster pretentious
I swear you make half this shit up as well.
No, it's cool. It's a game about exploring shifting realities, which...
Of course it is.
You can see why there's a Philip K. Dick inspiration there. And it just looks really stylish and interesting, and I hope it's going to use those ideas that sound all high-minded and intelligent in an actual clever way, rather than just being pretentious. But we'll have to wait and see.
How many guns does it have?
I don't know. I cannot confirm. Really? I haven't seen any yet.
I could watch this all day. Like, literally, I have done in the past, actually. I'm glad no one caught me up on that.
The animation's amazing.
Yeah, this is Rain World, an indie project from, I believe, a studio which is one person.
Yeah, one or
just
two. Yeah.
Making...
I think it is one guy, yeah.
Yeah, but it's the procedural animation that really gets you. Like, all the different creatures, they all react in different ways. They're all beautifully animated, like the way they interact with the environment, with your little slug cat fella. It's just... watch a GIF of it and never stop watching it. Yeah, it's beautiful. There's
some really cool stuff there as well. Like if you leave certain enemies and don't kill them, they like breed and evolve and stuff. So you've got to make choices about. Obviously, you're really vulnerable, but sometimes you might want to kill stuff to stop it getting harder later. But there's kind of this whole risk reward thing, which is
it does sound cool.
This next one is a game called QUADRILATERAL COWBOY.
What?
It's been in development for quite a long time, but it looks really cool. Basically, it's a game where you play as a hacker, and you go into like a level and you have to hack things like doors and security cameras to get through.
Okay.
But what's really cool is like you hook up your laptop and it comes up and it's like using... I'm sure it's not actual code, but it's kind of like basic code that you're using to hack. So in a way, it's teaching you basic coding. So it looks like a really cool idea. It's made by Blendo Games, who did 30 Flights of Loving.
Of course, yeah, that instant classic.
Yeah.
What was that?
It's a short like game, like 15-20 minutes, and it tells kind of a story of a heist with like sharp cuts. So you go through really quickly, and it's like cutting between scenes, like cutting big gaps of time. So it's kind of like almost an experimental like narrative thing. But it was really good. But yeah, this looks really good and really interesting. And I think, so many games that have hacking, it's normally just some like stupid mini game, like pipes or something.
A pipe mania, yeah.
But you can imagine like putting in actual code and hacking stuff will make you feel really cool. So I think it's going to be good.
This little beauty is Cuphead, which I think we're going to do rather well based on how good it looks alone.
Oh, it looks amazing.
Yeah, the art style of like the kind of 20s, 30s like cartoon aesthetic is just superb. Like, I know people are a bit concerned that it's going to be a glorified boss rush, but We have seen normal levels as well, like, and if these big bad bosses are what we're going to get at the end of every level, like, the standard is so high here with the bosses we're seeing, like,
yeah,
I'd be fine with just a boss rush, to be honest.
I don't care if it's a boss rush, as long as it's fun, it doesn't matter. And I think, like, in terms of like the visual style, no one's ever done anything like that. I can't think of a game that's used that aesthetic and so faithfully.
Not so well, no, but I think we're getting to that kind of that point in gaming now where all the bullshit people used to spout about, oh my god, it looks like a cartoon, it looks like an anime, it looks like a manga, like, it never did. You go back to those cel-shaded PS2 games, and like, they look like shit. Like, they don't look like cartoons. And then you get stuff like Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear now. That does. Yeah. That actually looks better than some cartoons. Like,
yeah, it's so stylish, and the soundtrack's awesome as well.
It is,
so.
Yeah.
This game is called TACOMA, and the reason I'm really looking forward to this one is because it's made by the people who made Gone Home, which did some really cool stuff with exploration and storytelling and so on. Gone Home was good in the sense that it was really grounded, and the way it told its story was quite believable, and its characters felt real. This takes place on a space station in the future in some sci-fi world. So
it's a bit more out there then.
Yeah, so I don't know whether it's going to... Well, my hope is that it's not going to lose that really like human element that it had, and it's going to transport that to, you know, this more outlandish setting.
Cool.
And if it can do that, then I think it will be really good.
Sure. Well, since Far Cry Primal pretty much turned out to be Far Cry 4 in a loincloth, I'm looking forward to Wild more than ever now. So Wild is by Michel Ancel, the guy behind Rayman of all things, who has now learnt to animate arms and legs properly. So this looks a bit more realistic. I say a bit more realistic. It's still got quite a cartoony vibe to it. The idea here being you can play as a shaman and go around possessing all kinds of animals to get them to do your bidding for you. So if you want to send a bear into a pack of barbarians, go for it. If you want to just get a worm and wriggle along under them or whatever, fine. It's quite an open-ended approach, I think. It'll be interesting to see just how open it is once we get our hands on it.
Yeah, I think that's the most appealing thing about it, like the creativity, the idea that maybe you could do some things that are a bit unexpected and use animals in like weird combinations to do surprising things. I think that's going to be the coolest thing about it, just messing around, seeing what you can do.
Seeing how many animals you can pile on the back of a bear, basically.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a huge fan of The Wind Waker, so unsurprisingly, RIME sold me a glance. That's all it took. It's an open exploration type game. It's not... I think they said there's no combat, is that right?
Yeah.
Not direct combat, but there'll be kind of action-based puzzles and stuff like that. Like, I'm sure a lot of Zelda fans will be familiar with that kind of thing, but the idea of having no combat is certainly brave.
I think what I like about it is it's got a sense of mystery, but that's the impression you get from the trailers anyway.
For sure.
And what we've seen of it, it looks like it's got a sense of mystery. It's like an abandoned place and you're discovering things through exploration, which I think is cool. This next game is from the people that made The Unfinished Swan. It's called What Remains of Edith Finch. I thought The Unfinished Swan had some really good ideas. I really liked the fact that it would discard a mechanic and just go on to do something new. And it was, by the time you get to the end, you're playing a completely different game, which I thought was cool. This is structured as a series of short stories, but all themed around one family, the Finch family, obviously.
Over the years.
Yeah. Which I think what's cool about that is that as a team that's obviously made a game that's got loads of different ideas in it, each short story is going to give them the potential to just do something different,
and jump
play
around between
different ideas
and stuff.
Yeah, and without it feeling like weirdly inconsistent. So that's what's interesting to me about it. I just think it's built in a way for them to do some really interesting things, and that's what I want to see.
But isn't it a bit like a horror game?
That's my one concern, because I'm like a small child when it comes to horror. So if it's a bit scary, then I might not be able to play it. But fingers crossed it's not going to be.
Nothing had changed. Everything